Hello, I am Sophie Fraboda from Awaken with Sophie. And today I want to just really quickly go over 10 signs that can help you know if you are on the spiritual awakening path. There are things that start to happen as you start to awaken, and what that really means is that there is more light coming into your being, shining on your density. Now, this is the unfun part of a spiritual awakening. Most people think a spiritual awakening means that you're like all blissed out and floating on unicorns and should share love and light every single day. But that's kind of the result of awakening. And not even realistically, a lot of being on the spiritual path is doing deep spiritual healing work that unlocks the density from your form so that you can hold more light. So here are the 10 things that start to happen. There's many more, but these are the 10 most common things. Number 1, you start to have a loss of interest in conflict. So if there's drama in your life, or there was drama in your life, all of a sudden you're noticing it's just not that interesting and you're just not that into it. Or the TV shows you watch, you might notice they just don't interest you as much. This is a sign that stuff is starting to shift. Number 2, you have a sudden ability to manifest things super quickly. Like the other day, I said to the universe, I want to manifest an incense that smells like Palo Santo. I went to the dry cleaner to drop off my husband's clothes, and there was an incense holder named Palo Santo right there on the counter. And I was like, that was quick. Thank you, universe. Number 3, you start to experience wonderful synchronicities. Now, before you started awakening, you might have called them coincidences, but as you start to awaken and you move more and more on the spiritual path, you might start to see that there is no such thing as a coincidence, that it's alignment and it's synchronicity, and that it's like energy manifesting more like energy because you start to get more in tune with your frequency, and then you start to understand what you're actually drawing into your life. Number 4, and this one's really fun and also very common, you start to see repeating number sequences like 111 or 222, 444, 1111, 144, all 1, 2, 3, 4, all these specific patterns people will start to see. Sometimes you'll start to see your birthday on the clock or on a check, or that's an indication that you are actually starting to get in more alignment. This is probably the most controversial sign, but that is ringing in your ears. And no, I am not talking about tinnitus. I am not talking about you having constant ear problems and ear infections. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is a low humming ringing that seems to come from nowhere, that is actually an indication that your vibration has raised and is raising, and you're starting to hear a higher tune, a higher frequency. Now, if you have any concern medically, please seek out your medical professionals. This sign is really, once you've done that and you know it's nothing medical, it could be a sign that your vibration is raising because you are starting to spiritually awaken. Number 6, you start to have this increased connection to nature, this draw to nature. You may become more aware of the patterns of the moon, the sun, being called to go outside and connect with the dirt or the grass or the ocean or the mountains or wherever you are, but you're feeling this connection to nature that maybe you hadn't noticed before. Number 7, you have this sudden willingness and openness to start embracing your spiritual gifts. Maybe before you were awakening, you thought you were more cursed, or you were too sensitive, or you kind of had a gift that you put away, but now you're starting to see that it's actually something that you can learn to use to help others, to help yourself. So when you start spiritually awakening, you might notice that you have this willingness that starts to be like, let me look into that sensitivity. Let me look into that ability. Why did I dream about something that just happened? You start to notice it. Number 8, you want to shift your eating habits. You just have this inner nudge that says, well, I'm going to stop doing this, or I'm going to stop eating this, or I'm going to start incorporating more of this. Whether it's drinking more water, working out, giving up some sort of chemical, getting away from a product that you chronically consume, that's a very common step that happens for people as you start to spiritually awaken. Number 9, you might want to change your job. Now, this is a very common thing that starts to happen. We wake up, we become more conscious, we start to see what's blocking us, and all of a sudden our job doesn't feel so good. It's very common. It doesn't mean you need to quit your job. Please do not. Do everything with discernment, discretion, and in moderation. So if you don't like your job, there may be another job within your company that would be a better fit for you, and maybe you can easily, seamlessly shift into that position. So it is common to want to shift, but be very mindful about how you do that. And number 10, which is my favorite, is you have this new ability to trust something greater, something deeper that you cannot put your finger on, and it is not factual. Because when we start moving on that spiritual path with faith, with trust, with love in our heart, we don't get facts. Faith is the muscle that you use before it turns into a fact. But you have this tendency to feel like you want to let go and trust. And that is an indication that you are spiritually awakening. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you are spiritually awakening, drop a comment below on which step you're feeling, and love and light to you all. I hope you enjoyed this video. We have a bunch of other spiritual healing videos on our channel. If you have any questions, drop a comment below. I love hearing from you all. And make sure you're following me on Instagram at Awaken with Sophie.